From the dawn of civilization, the golden rule for most, if not all politicians in governing has been one thing and one thing only.
Control.
The control of the minds, thoughts, beliefs, and information of its citizens. But with every decade, it gets more and more subtle as to trick the median citizen into believing a sense of autonomy, resolve, or even dignity in their thoughts and beliefs. In the year 1984, in George Orwell's magnum opus, we get to experience a completely different reality from ours. A world ruled by just a couple ultra-totalitarian states who are endlessly at war. According to the lore of the novel, this party overthrew the British government in the 1950s, a short time after the Second World War, and in the 30 years leading up to when the action takes place, the party has taken the liberty of enacting a totalitarian dictatorship with a man named Big Brother at its center, an almost divine figure in their eyes, deserving of total worship and praise. But as the readers, we don't even know if Big Brother is alive. Our protagonist, Winston Smith, is a low-ranking member of the ruling party in Airstrip 1. He secretly despises the totalitarian regime led by Big Brother. He works at the Ministry of Truth, where he alters historical records to fit the party's current narrative. Though constantly monitored by telescreens and the thought police, he starts keeping a diary, a forbidden act, and soon enters a secret love affair with Julia, a fellow dissenter. Together, they find temporary refuge in a rented room above an antique shop, but they're betrayed by the shopkeeper, an undercover agent. Winston and Julia are arrested and taken to the Ministry of Love, where Winston undergoes brutal torture and psychological reprogramming. In room 101, he is confronted with his worst fear and ultimately betrays Julia. By the end of the novel, Winston is broken. He no longer loves anyone. He now loves Big Brother. But what are the philosophical pillars of Big Brother, if we were to look at them?
War is peace.
The perpetual war between Oceania, East Asia, and Eurasia is not truly about winning. The real purpose of war is to use up resources and keep people in a constant state of fear and deprivation, making them easier to control. Constant war prevents prosperity, which might give people time or comfort to question the system.
Freedom is slavery.
The party insists on total loyalty to itself, above family, above friendship, above love, even above the individual's own instincts. Natural bonds like family, romantic love, and friendship are seen as threats because they divide a person's loyalty. Marriage is done out of pure reproductional necessities, and marriages that are done for any other reason are terminated. One thing about interhuman relationships in the novel is how it kinda mirrors today's corporate culture and the agendas of it.
Ignorance is strength.
Physical oppression matters, but psychological control is even more important. The party seeks not just obedience, but genuine belief. They want to rewrite a person's inner thoughts until love for Big Brother is automatic. Torture, surveillance, and propaganda work together to destroy independent thinking, which has been given the moniker of thought crime. The party controls the truth, and reality is not objective, but rather what the party decrees. If the party decides 2 + 2 = 5 tomorrow, you must comply and believe. How does George Orwell's depiction and critique of totalitarianism fare well in today's zeitgeist of semi-functional democracies? Yes, personal liberty and life satisfaction in the past decades has pretty much skyrocketed, but that doesn't mean people are less susceptible to propaganda. But one of the things that holds up really well is the concept of hate, which is the most important tool in political discourse in this day and age. In the novel, the workers of the outer and inner party are subjected to a daily ritual called the 2-minute hate. Party members must watch a propaganda video that incites intense hatred towards the enemies of the regime, especially Emanuel Goldstein, a former party member who allegedly betrayed Oceania and the perennial scapegoat of INSOC. Nowadays, the messaging isn't as direct in some cases. This trend continues, and in recent years, it has become a more and more frequent phenomenon. When I download TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube in some cases, my freshly generated algorithm is often littered with this absolute trash belonging to some trend like Save Europe, where the norm lies in pinning the faults and shortcomings of society on immigrants, Muslims, atheists, or other groups within the supposedly decadent Western society. While Winston does not agree with what the party decrees, even he is sometimes overrun by emotion and sort of participates in this hate ritual, showing how the party can slowly and methodically get its citizens to comply and believe through vicious emotional messaging. These minorities and different social groups having their accomplishments, cultures, languages, religions reduced to ashes by the same hate-driven narrative that only benefits one class of people and one class of people only, the political and the corporatist class that go hand in hand, the people that tell you what to think and what to buy and what to hate. In the book, Winston is led to believe that O'Brien, a fellow war comrade, is also eager to rebel against Big Brother and Oceania. They make it so that they can set up a meeting without the telescreens hearing them. And once the time comes, O'Brien puts Winston to the test, asking him an array of questions. Finally, he tells Winston that soon he will discreetly receive the manifesto of Emanuel Goldstein. When Winston receives it and starts reading through it, he reaches the part that touches on the ways to solve these problems. The thought police kick down the door. It becomes abundantly clear that O'Brien in fact betrayed them and was just one of the many psychopaths that run the party and that take pride in it. But I think a very interesting case I've seen in the past year has been with the Romanian presidential elections. Călin Georgescu, the runner-up in the cancelled 2024 November elections, had an unexpected surge. More than 2 million votes despite little mainstream exposure. Looked on the surface like a grassroots awakening. But as investigations reveal, it wasn't that simple. In December of 2024, TikTok reported removing over 27,000 fake accounts, all of which had been consistently promoting Georgescu and the Our Party. These weren't just isolated bots, they were part of a coordinated push, without any significant declared funding, that blanketed social media with emotionally charged, highly targeted content. The result? A digital movement that looked organic but was most likely engineered, designed to tap into real frustrations and redirect them towards a very specific political outcome. And this is where the modern machinery of influence comes into play. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube don't just reflect public sentiment, they shape it, they build it, and reward engagement, not truth. Emotional content travels faster than verified information, and when entire communities feel unheard or abandoned, those emotions can be harnessed quickly, cheaply, and without accountability. It's not about fake news, it's about curated reality. When trust in institutions is low, when trust in institutions has been low for the past 35 years since the fall of the communist regime, and digital ecosystems reward outrage, it creates the perfect conditions for influence operations. Whether they come from domestic actors, foreign interests, or loosely connected networks, the effect is the same. They bypass traditional politics and go straight to the people's emotional core. And once that connection is made, it's incredibly difficult to trace, regulate, or reverse. The Romanian intelligence services raise concerns about foreign involvement, potential connections to paramilitary networks, and coordinated cyber attacks on election infrastructure. But even if no laws were explicitly broken, the outcome was clear. The system had been stress tested. This isn't fiction, but it feels familiar. That's because we've been warned before. 1984 described a world where truth was manufactured by the state. Today, the manufacturing is outsourced to algorithms, influencers, anonymous networks, and foreign proxies. You don't need to rewrite history with a ministry of truth. All you need is reach, repetition, and the right psychological levers. In Orwell's world, 2 + 2 = 5 wasn't a lie. It was a loyalty test. In ours, the test is more subtle. Which version of reality will you choose? The one backed by facts, or the one that feels right? That's the battleground now. Not in parliaments or polling stations, but on screens, in feeds, and in the fleeting seconds where attention meets emotion. We keep waiting for a revolution to appear on our screens, like a breaking news headline, sudden uprising that changes everything. But the revolution won't be televised, not because it's being hidden, but because a revolution that's broadcast is often already co-opted. Narratives are framed, outrage is packaged, and before you know it, what looked like rebellion becomes just another piece of content, consumed, forgotten, replaced. If the tools of control have evolved from censorship to distraction, from force to algorithm, then the first battleground isn't the street, it's your mind. Not between left and right, not between state and citizen, but between fear and agency. So no, it won't be televised, because it won't fit in a soundbite, it won't trend, it won't sell out space, and it won't make you feel validated. But if it's real, if it starts inside you, then no algorithm, no bot farm, and no political script can kill it.